Hey guys, Robert Maxwell with the Man Factory. Recently I was flying my drone that I use for my videography business over my home and property on western Manitoulin Island, and the footage turned out pretty interesting, so I thought you might like to see it here. As you can see, I'm raising the drone at the moment directly over the cabin in the woods where my wife and daughter and I live, and as I start to get higher, you can see that there isn't any cleared land to speak of except for the little patch right around the cabin, but we're mostly surrounded by forest, which is just how we like it. It's largely coniferous forest around this particular part of the island. A lot of spruce trees. There are some poplars and a few maples and oaks as well, but mostly coniferous, which makes it easy to find a Christmas tree in winter. At the top of the screen you can see a bright green object. That's a fabric shelter that I use to store some tools and extra building materials. We're getting quite high up now, probably 60 or 70 meters up at this point, and you can see that there really are a lot of trees around, not any civilization other than my place visible at the moment. Starting to fly north with the drone now, you can see in the direct middle of the screen my driveway, which is a small roadway just capable of fitting one vehicle that we use to drive into the place, and on the right-hand side of the screen, the slightly larger one-lane trail that leads down to Lorne Lake, a small natural lake near our home. So our driveway runs more or less parallel to that trail leading down to the lake, up until we reach the end of it, at which point it turns, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, and actually connects with that lake trail. So that's how we turn off of the so-called civilized road, the lake trail, and enter the even less civilized road leading to our little home in the woods. Now, tilting the camera and facing it south, you can see a little more context now. In the distance, that body of water is actually Lake Huron. This is the south shore of Manitoulin Island that you see there. On the left-hand side, you can see my dad's pasture fields, and rotating the drone to the right, which should be to the west, you can see Lorne Lake, the small lake that I mentioned earlier, shining on the right-hand side. Again, there's a whole lot of trees in this area, and that's one of the reasons that my wife and I value the place so much. There just isn't the civilization, the concrete jungle that you see in highly populated areas. This is, for the most part, all natural as it was made, and that's what we really value and appreciate about where we live. We feel very blessed to be among nature, and it's not for everyone, but it certainly is for us. Continuing to fly the drone northwards, you can see more and more of Lorne Lake. It's not a particularly big lake. I think it's, under 2 kilometers from end to end, certainly, and probably closer to 1. I'm just finding my feet with the drone here, trying not to rotate too fast and lose control of it. There's a certain art to piloting drones, if you've never tried it. Circling back to my dad's fields, you can see there's actually different colors of grass there, and that's where he rotates out the cattle that are on pasture right now, giving them a little chunk of the grass to eat at a time and getting the most production out of it possible. You can see my dad's home and workshop and property below now, and the famous Bailey Line Road stretching out straight as an arrow beyond that. That's the road that my dad has named his website and business after, baileylineroad.com. And as you can see, it's a beautiful, natural, country-style road, the sort that you don't see too many of these days anymore. And we really love living on Bailey Line Road. I'm a little further down it than my dad is, but we both really appreciate the natural beauty and the tree-lined nature of the road. Coming down now for a landing, you can see a closer view of my dad's property, and those 2 gray concrete pads that you just saw were my brother Joseph's shot put and discus throwing pads. That's him standing beside me in the bottom left of the screen. I filmed this video from my dad's place, as you can see, giving my brother a demo of how the drone works. And I'm now coming in for a landing. Here we go. And boom. Looked like a rough landing, but it was actually pretty smooth as these things go. Thanks for watching. See you next time.